Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings. Now let's get straight into it. So today we're going to be talking about Halloween and some of its origins. We really could go a lot deeper than I plan on covering, but just at least we're going to scratch a little bit more than the surface. Let's start with Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 20. It says, "Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter," meaning those that call good evil and evil good, that makes things that are evil appear to be a good thing. And that's what Halloween is, because I mean, anyone with the right mind should be able to perceive and discern that having, you know, ghosts and goblins and a creepy pumpkin with, creepy little eyes and a light and going out at night and all this, haunted houses and all this crazy stuff, that it can't be of the Lord. It just can't be something righteous. Right. And that really just shows you how powerful witchcraft is, and shows you that witchcraft is real. Witchcraft is real, man, because you have to be under a demonic spell to accept something like that as, okay, it's something that's good. It's something that we should have our kids doing. And there's some of the main, they're the main demographic that this so-called holiday is pushed on, right? How the children go out there with a little costume and a little bag and collecting candy and all that. I mean, it's all kind of wicked. And really, again, when you just take a step back, it's quite obvious. It's not really anything, that really needs to be broken down, to a to a massive degree, to be able to see that it has nothing to do with the Most High and His Son and the Scriptures at all. And it's not something that we're commanded to do, obviously. So let's just go in here. Like I said, we're not going to dive too deep. This is not going to be one of the longer lessons, but I at least wanted to go over this because, as always, every year I see, so-called black people going to Halloween parties, and, every Halloween now it's become a thing on social media to see what costume that we can do or what we can best replicate, different movies, different celebrities and stuff like that. It's become a huge thing now. I think even more than like going to like Halloween parties and stuff. Like we always, trying to, you know, have some type of costume or something and get likes and stuff on social media. But all of that is not of the Lord. All of it is wicked. All right. And we're going to see, where some of these things come from. And just by doing basic research here, it's not anything too deep, really. So I got the Wikipedia page for Halloween here. Let's take a look. It says All Hallows Eve. So you're already starting to see where the word Halloween comes from. It comes from All Hallows Eve, which we're going to read a little bit about. I don't even think I had that specific page pulled up, but let's look. It says Halloween, or Halloween, less commonly known as All Halloween or All Hallows Eve or All Saints Eve, is a celebration observed in many countries on 31st October or October 31st, the eve of the Western Christian feast of All Saints Day. Now, in the so-called Catholic Church, they have a ton of feast days like this so-called All Saints Day, where they just be making stuff up, man. I mean, it was All Saints Day. Like, where does that even come from? With Easter, so-called Easter, they at least try to disguise that as being, coming from the Passover, and they try to make those two days similar or congruent. But what is All Saints Day? They just be making up stuff, and they really be rolling with it. And mostly, when I say making up stuff, though, I mean most of it comes from some Wiccan, at least Wiccan in a modern term, or some ancient pagan festival. So honestly, that's where the roots come from. So when I say making up stuff, the modern version of it, they just be making up stuff from some type of demonic, wicked, aka pagan, ancient festival that has been celebrated for thousands of years. But anyways, it says, and begins the observance of All Hallowtide. Okay, the time of the liturgical year dedicated to remembering the dead, including saints or hallows, martyrs, and all the faithful departed. So dedicated to remembering the dead. Hmm. Is that something that the Most High would have us do? Dedicating days to remembering the dead? No, I think not. All right. One theory holds that many Halloween traditions were influenced by Celtic harvest festivals, particularly the Gaelic festival. Is in the English we would pronounce it Samhain, but it's really, if we look at the actual pronunciation, it's actually Samhain in the Gaelic or the Irish. All right, it would be Samhain. Let's go back here. So I'll say Samhain or Samhain, depending on how I feel like pronouncing it. But that's really, this is really the actual origin of so-called Halloween. And you see, it says one theory. They know this ain't no doggone theory. Holds that many Halloween traditions were influenced. That's exactly where it comes from. That's exactly where it comes from. Anyways, which are believed to have pagan roots. Yeah, you think? Some go further and suggest that Samhain may have been Christianized as All Hallows Day, along with this Eve by the early church. Christianized. There is no such thing as Christianizing anything. All right. Let's pull some scripture on that. Okay, let's grab Job 14:4. Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one. So you can't quote unquote Christianize anything. All right. A lot of our people, they think that right now, really, all people, all nations, they think that. I've heard that many times. I was being some brothers, shout out to the brothers if they're watching this. I remember we were having a discourse with a so-called white man outside of the gym back in those days. Right now I wouldn't do anything like that. But anyways, he was saying that Christmas was quote unquote Christianized. We were trying to tell him, and not really for the fact that he was a so-called white man, so it was really just him stopping us. I believe he saw our fringes or something like that, and we really were just going back and forth just because, but not really to try to get him to not keep Christmas. But anyways, we were going back and forth with dude, and he talking about Christmas was Christianized or something like that. It was either either Christmas or something to the one of the pagan holidays. All I know is he was saying it was Christianized. There's no such thing. Okay, let's read this again. Job chapter 14 and verse 4. Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one. You cannot clean something that is unclean. Okay, you cannot turn a pagan holiday into a righteous holiday or a holy day. All right, all of the days that the Most High wants us to keep, they're outlined in the scriptures, and that's it. Okay, you can't take a pagan holiday and then say, okay, well, now we're going to add some different quote unquote Christian aspects about it. And as long as we doing that, it's been Christianized and it's all good. No, impossible. And also, let's go here. So this is Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 5. For the living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything, neither have they any more a reward, for the memory of them is forgotten. Okay, so we're not supposed to be making dedications to the dead. The memory of them is forgotten. Okay, we're not supposed to have an annual commemoration for the dead. Okay. Once your spirit is lifted up outside of your host, your body, that's it. Your spirit is, in the judgment. I mean, in the, excuse me, in the spirit world, awaiting judgment, and that's it. A lot of times people, we go to, different graves and things like that, and we kind of talking to the body and stuff like that. But, that person is no longer there, or it's a wrap. That's kind of traumatizing for a lot of people, but to understand that, but it's just the truth. Okay. So there's no need to have these type of dedications to the dead. Okay. And that's what makes it wicked. It's against the Most High's word. Anything that is against the Most High's word is pagan, because you are either on the right hand side or you on the left hand side. There is no in between. And these different quote unquote holidays like this, they try to get you to believe that there is a middle ground. I don't think anyone would say that Halloween is in the scriptures, but they just don't realize that it's wicked or it's pagan or you're in sin when you keep it, because we've developed this little middle ground here in this world, really, but also in this so-called country, to where we think things are, oh, it's not bad, it's innocent. Well, it's not. Well, it depends on if you're a commandment keeper, though, because if you are a pagan and this is what you do, this is your day. So I'm only referring to those that, aspire to keep the Most High statute, laws, and commandments. This is really, that's the only people I'm talking to, because if you're a pagan and, continue to go off, keep, some win if you want to. But anyways, other academics believe Halloween began solely as a Christian holiday. Well, okay. Being the vigil of All Hallows Day. Celebrated in Ireland and Scotland for centuries, Irish and Scottish immigrants took many Halloween customs to North America in the 19th century. And then through American influence, various Halloween customs spread to other countries by the late 20th and early 21st century. So let's read this part and then we'll go to the next tab. Popular Halloween activities include trick or treating, something that seems completely innocent, but look at little man right here. Look at man. Looking demonic. Okay. Trick or treating. And man, I always been scared of trick or treating, really. I mean, I of course I did it back when I was a child before we knew any better, but I wasn't really big on trick or treating anyways. Once I saw one person, like, they had the candy poisoned, or whatever they doing with this candy, I was pretty much good on that, man. But I have, as early as what, 2015 or so. I mean, in apartments that I used to live at, I was giving out candy. I know, going off, but never really been big on this mess anyways. That's why it was so easy for me to stop keeping these days, because I really never cared about them anyways. Anyways, so order related, guising and souling. Look, that's what you're doing, guising and souling. Okay, taking on a persona of another spirit when put on these costumes and things. All right, being double spirited. Anyways, attending Halloween costume parties, which is, that's a whole nother thing in itself too. That all goes back to the same wicked customs. And these Halloween costume parties, they really just another, form of revelry anyways, just like all the other ancient customs or ancient pagan festivities. Okay, carving pumpkins or turnips into jack-o'-lanterns. There's a history involved with that too we can go into. Lighting bonfires. I want to talk about that here in a second, the bonfires. Apple bobbing. Divination games. What does scripture say about divination, man? Playing pranks, visiting haunted attractions. Have y'all heard about that haunted house in Tennessee where they supposedly pay you what 20,000 if you make it through, but no one has ever made it through? And the one dude that did, they didn't want to pay him his money. And the guy that runs it, I'll put the name of that haunted house on the screen if I remember it editing. But yeah, in this so-called haunted house, they're really just in there to inflict pain and do all type of weird stuff to you. All wickedness, man. Anyways, telling scary stories and watching horror or Halloween themed films. Some people practice the Christian some people practice the Christian observances of the All Hallows Eve. I'm laughing because they keep saying this word Christian, including attending church services and lighting candles on the graves of the dead. Wow. Although it is a secular celebration for others, is secular, yeah, it is a secular celebration in period. Okay. Some Christians historically abstain from meat on All Hallows Eve, a tradition reflected in the eating of certain vegetarian foods on this vigil day, including apples, potato pancakes, and soul cakes. Brothers out here eating soul cakes, man. Okay, it says etymology. The word Halloween or Halloween, Saints' Evening, is of Christian origin. Yeah, Christian, the so-called Christianity that was created by Emperor Constantine in the First Council of Nicaea in 325. Yeah, that Christian. A term equivalent to All Hallows Eve is attested in Old English. Okay. I think we're done with this for the most part. We're going to get more on this. Let's go to the next tab here. So Samhain or Samhain, this is the actual quote unquote, pagan festival that this came from, that Halloween came from. Okay. So it says Samhain or Samhain is a Gaelic festival on November the 1st, marking the end of the harvest season and beginning of winter or darker half of the year. So notice it says a Gaelic festival. So the Gaels, what does that sound like? It sounds like Galatia or Galilee. So our people, we were involved into, most of the pagan festivals and, different different festivals, ideologies, so on and so forth. We were heavily steeped into this stuff, before Yahushua came on the scene and Paul, straightened a lot of this out. A lot of our people were into this. So a lot of times we'll see something like this and we'll say, okay, it's the so-called white man's holiday and things like that. And originally so, but, for a good period of time, our people, we've been keeping this stuff just like we do right now today. So we're not innocent from it. But either way, in another thing, yeah, the Gauls, like it says here, those were the group of the Celts that pretty much populated that land over there in Galatia. And that's who Paul was speaking to in the book of Galatians, the Gauls or the Celts. They went by many different names, by the way. But these were so-called black people that were keeping Samhain, okay, or Samhain. All right. Anyway, celebrations begin on the evening of October 31st, since the Celtic day began and ended at sunset. This is about halfway between the autumnal equinox and winter solstice. So in the pagan world, they keep equinoxes and winter solstices. Okay. And it says it is one of the 4 Gaelic seasonal festivals, along with Imbolc, Beltane, and Lugnasa. So these are the the four main Gaelic seasonal festivals: Imbolc, Beltane, and Lugnasa. Okay, I got something on Beltane pulled up. We're going to go into that in a second. Historically, it was widely observed throughout Ireland, Scotland, and Galatia. Okay, in the Isle of Man, where it's called Swan. A similar festival is held by the Brittonic Celtic people called Calan Gaeaf in Wales, Allantide in Cornwall, and Nas Anan in Brittany. Samhain is believed to have Celtic pagan origins in some Neolithic Pasic tombs in Britain and Ireland. Now, this is one part I want to go to here on Samhain. Okay, it says ritual bonfires like Beltane or Baal-tane. Bonfires were lit on hilltops at Samhain, and there were rituals involving them. By the early modern era, they were most common in parts of the Scottish Highlands, on the Isle of Man, in North and Mid Wales, and in parts of Ulster. F. Mary McNeil says that they were formerly need fires. A need fire is a fire kindled by friction, which is lit in a ritual and used as protective magic against murrain, plague, and witchcraft. You see a ritual. But that this custom died out. No, it didn't. So what I wanted to say about the ritual bonfires is this is definitely still going on. I actually witnessed one of these in person just so-called last year. So I was riding through. It wasn't exactly on so-called Halloween. I believe it was the same day last year that I'm recording this, October 28th. And I seen, people in unison just like this. I recorded it. I may be able to put it on the screen, maybe not, but you'll see if I am able to put it on the screen. But yeah, I saw people in unison, around a bonfire just like this, and it was this time of the year, so I knew this is exactly what they were doing. And if you're a pagan, this is nothing new. This is not, anything, crazy or, too hidden or anything like that. This is what people actually do. Okay. A lot of people that know exactly what Halloween means, which is millions of people, they keep these bonfires or, they keep these customs of Halloween because they know what it actually means. Okay. Who they actually commemorating the different pagan deities that they actually giving, praise to. They already know what's up. So when I saw that, I wasn't too shocked, but I did record it because I was like, wow, it's, people definitely out here and they know what it is. It also says the bonfires were used in divination. So these are different customs that we are all willingly, whether we know about it or not, knowingly or unknowingly, accepting once we accept that spirit of Halloween. Okay. Whether you just going to a so-called Halloween party, you giving out candy, you having your child dressed to go get candy, you putting up pumpkins, at least pumpkins that have the little carvings and all this other crazy stuff people do this time of the year. This is what, this is the spirit or the energy that you are, placing upon yourself. Okay. It is a wicked energy, and there's nothing you can do to clean that spirit. All right. The dead were honored at Samhain. We could keep going, but like I said, I didn't want to get too deep on this because it's really not too deep. This is one of the easiest pagan holidays to see what's going on. I mean, it's just right there out in the open. Like I said, that's how you know the witchcraft in society, man, is really something else. Because a lot of us, when we came into the knowledge and we realized what was going on, we were like, wow, What are we doing keeping this stuff, man? This never made any sense. And that's because the Most High, he peels that curtain back and allows you to see what's really good. But, while you still in it, what we call the matrix, you don't even see it. And it's right here in your face. That's how witchcraft is. Okay. Witchcraft will allow you to not see things that's just right there out in the open. Okay. And witchcraft is real, by the way, and it's being practiced all day, every day in this society. And that's how, millions and millions, maybe even the billions of people do not see this stuff, even though it's just right here. Okay. It's because of witchcraft. And that's why we got to stay girded up and stay praying and fasting and doing our best to keep the Most High statute, laws, and commandments, because that witchcraft could, it could consume anyone, even the very elect. All right. Now, there's another, pagan holiday, or there's really a time period here called the Beltane. Okay, it says 13 days of preparation, occult significance of May Day or Beltane. I'm going to go to this quickly. Maybe I'll go back over this in the time of Beltane, but it says 13 days of preparation. Occult significance, April 19th through May 1st. It says April 19th is the first day of the 13-day satanic ritual day relating to fire. The fire god Baal or Molech / Nimrod, the sun god, also known as the Roman god Saturn or Satan, devil. This day is a major human sacrifice day. It is demanding fire sacrifice with an emphasis on children. This day is one of the most important human sacrifice days, and as such has had some very important historic events occur on this day, which is true. So every year, it seems between these dates, normally between April 19th and May 1st, there's always some type of event going on. Just pay attention to it. There's always something going on. Some type of shooting, some type of bombs, something going on. Because what these people do in this society, they know all of these ancient pagan festivals, and they commemorate them. They just don't tell you exactly what's going on. But a lot of these events that we see, they're all scripted. They're all planned around these pagan holidays. Just like Halloween is, that was planned on purpose because it was All Hallows Day or Samhain. They do the same thing with these actual events, and it's real blood that's shed. Okay, a lot of brothers think, these things are hoaxes, but they're not. A real blood has to be shed, meaning to keep these actual human sacrifice days, they have to, really put somebody through the fire. They have to actually sacrifice people, just like they did in the scriptures. So everything that was done in the scriptures, we can go to some of the human sacrifices and different pagan sacrifices that were done in the scriptures, but all of that is still done today. Okay, it says the 13 days of preparation is one of the many key windows of the year that are known as a season of sacrifice. The best way to describe the importance of April 19th through to May 1st and the rest of the first week of May is to explain how ancient rituals are still carried out on the masses. Exactly. These ritualistic events can also be repackaged into new, modernized, seemingly innocent versions of the same ritual, meaning the public can unknowingly lend their energy to the ritual, giving it consent as well as spiritual strength. Exactly. So that's all this done. They repackaged to seem innocent versions of the same rituals that were done in the scriptures that's been going on for thousands of years. That's one of the many ways that we know that the scriptures are real, because you can get these accounts all throughout the scriptures, man. You can. It's just repackaged. When you make those connections, you see exactly what's going on. Okay. So that's one of the key things that I want to do on this page is make these connections so we can understand that the scriptures are a collection of historical events. Okay. Anyways, most of our red letter calendar dates are in fact repackaged ancient Babylonian, Greek, and Egyptian festivals that were honored in celebration to gods or deities that their worshippers often made human and animal sacrifices to. Exactly. Babylonian, Greek, and Egyptian festivals. That's mainly or Roman festivals. That's mainly where we get any type of so-called holidays from, and even when we have these different historic events, that's really that's all that's going on when they have these different mass shootings and things of that nature. That's where it comes from. It's funny. I was thinking back on a game. I bet none of you brothers heard of this game or played it, but there's a game called Zone of the Enders that was on PlayStation 2, I believe. And on this game, they had basically it's like Transformers. We have the big mech type of humanoid robots. You can control them, just like if you heard of Gundam Wings. But anyways, like on this game, you had like three main big robots that, well, you could only play as one, but you had three like main, they called them orbital frames on that game. One of them was named Jehuti. The other one was named Anubis, and they had a female one named Neith. So Jehuti and Anubis is nothing but the Egyptian gods known as Thoth, and Anubis is straight up Anubis. Jehuti is another pronunciation of Thoth, which if brothers are familiar, that's one of the more major pagan deities in the Egyptian doctrine, so to say. Okay, and Neith was one of the main pagan goddesses. So in that game, it's just out in the open that they renamed these, humanoid robots or orbital frames, like they call them in that game, after, ancient pagan deities. But it's just amazing because, at the time that game came out, I was probably only 10 or something like that. It came out a long time ago. And I had no idea, of course, at that time, but you see, different things now through a different lens once, you become a man and the Most High blesses you with, a certain amount of knowledge and wisdom. But anyways, April 19th is the start of a season of sacrifice that lasts 13 days up until the start of Beltane. The Beltane Fire Festival begins on May 1st, otherwise known as May Day, and ends on the 6th. It is during the first week of May that we often see many fires breaking out around the world. Yep. These fires are in honor of the god of fire, Baal, otherwise known as Nimrod, the sun god. Yep. Saturn or Satan, which is really one and the same. Moloch. Now, these deities are in the scriptures, and many others depending on which culture is being quoted. Yeah, so different cultures, they have different names for the same deities. Okay. The satanic time of the year is particularly dangerous for children who are the main focus of sacrifices to Baal. Yeah, like the Columbine High shooting. Okay, Beltane is the time of the year when Madeleine McCann went missing, and I will explain more about that later on in the article. Okay, so it's a picture of Molech again. Now look at this. The strange thing about April 19th in the modern day is it still holds many dark events with attacks or false flags taking place on the date or during the 13-day window. Let's look at this now. And I believe this is, kind of outdated. We really could add more to this. All right, to this list here. But let's take a look. It says April 19th, 1993, you had the Waco, Texas massacre. Okay, the FBI assault led to the burning down of the compound of a sect named Branch Davidians, killing 76 men, women, and children. That number was on purpose. Okay, that number holds a high vibration on the left-hand side. Like I was saying, the number 76 has a high resonance on the left-hand path. Just wanted to pull this up really quickly. The Capricorn sign, it has different iterations, but one of them, you see 76 combined. And doesn't this look just like the Philadelphia 76ers, the NBA team, that logo? I mean, it's pretty much uncanny, It says it's the inherent duality of this mysterious mermaid goat sign. Also note that the goat is often associated with the dark arts. I mean, this article pretty much said that it still holds many dark events, right? But the lion is associated with the biblical arts. Well, that's true, but they hold a lion to a high regard on the left-hand side too. Even in Narnia, the lion is a chosen symbol of God, as well as it is for the other nations like the UK, Denmark, Ethiopia, and many others. But the goat is often associated with an antichrist. But a goat is still a goat, and goats are more friendly than lions and give more to society than do lions. You see, this person is clearly a pagan. Nonetheless, the lion is associated with power and prestige, but most lions see humans as bothersome or lunch. So, trying to downplay a lion. But I just wanted to show that really quickly. This sign here, the 76. Again, that number has high resonance on the left-hand path. Okay, and it could on the right-hand path too, but in this case, there's a reason why they had exactly 76 men, women, and children killed in the Waco, Texas massacre by David Koresh. David Koresh. They had this on Netflix. And I believe they had a couple iterations of the Waco, Texas massacre where they had that cult, man. My David Koresh in the sect called the Branch Davidians. But anyways, April 19th, 1995, you had the Oklahoma City bombing. Brothers are old enough, they probably remember that too. 168 people killed. I mentioned this earlier. In April 20th, this time they went right on the dot. In 1999, that's a high spiritual resonance on the left-hand side too, because you had 1999, which is pretty much 666. But anyways, Columbine High School massacre, 13 people murdered, 21 injured. 13 was on purpose. 7 and 6 equals 13. So April 16th, 2007, the Virginia Tech massacre. I remember that one too. 32 killed, 17 injured. And then you had the Boston Marathon explosions, 3 killed, 107 injured. I remember that one. The fertilizer plant explosion in Texas back in 2013. 5 to 15 killed. Let's read this. It says, notice that this event occurred almost exactly 20 years after the Waco massacre, which is in the same area. Also, on April 16, 1947, a ship loaded with ammonium nitrate docked at the port of Texas City and erupted in flames, causing a massive explosion that killed approximately 576 people. Wow. Okay. April 21st, the prince dies on the Queen of England's birthday, and back in 2016. 2019, April 21st, Colombo City after terrorist attack, Sri Lanka, and the Easter bombing. So that was on so-called Easter. I remember that. That was not too long ago. So April 28th, 2018, the Alfie Evans sacrifice ritual completed within a 13-day window, right? And then back in April 19th, 2020, you had that mass shooting in Nova Scotia, Canada, 13 reported dead. And then in May 3rd, 2007, you had the Madeleine McCann, reported missing, allegedly not seen since April 30th. So what I'm getting at here and what this article is getting at too is that, throughout this 13-day period between April 19th and May 1st, and sometimes, a little bit before or after those dates, you always have something going on in the world, man. And I believe Scottie Pippen's son, that was 33 years old, didn't he die around this time too? So it says here, so Scottie Pippen's son that died at exactly age 33, which again is a really high resonance on the left-hand side. He announced his son died. Antron Pimpin died on Sunday, April 18th. So again, look, it's always something going on these dates. Always. Just, again, check it every year. Almost every year. I mean, a lot of people are, kind of picking up on this. So I'm not going to say every single year. But, I mean, look how many times this has happened in history. These are some major events that all took place in the same window. Do I think this is a coincidence, knowing the spiritual significance on the left-hand path of these days? I would say not. I would say not, for sure. It says the cult of Baal never disappeared. You can see how I used the same pagan festival date formula to predict attacks on April 21st in 2019 when we had the Mumbai Easter Sunday mass shootings. I had done 2 live streams based on the event. The video was beforehand. Looked like YouTube got rid of that thing. So, yeah, just showing you Beltane and getting you some more evidence on that. But to speak on this, where he says the cult of Baal never disappeared, let's go to Hosea chapter 2 and then start at verse 14. It says, therefore, behold, I will allure her and bring her into the wilderness and speak comfortably unto her, her being Israel. Okay. Verse 15, and I will give her vineyards from thence in the valley of Achor for a door of hope. And she shall sing there as in the days of her youth, and as in the day when she came up out of the land of Egypt. Verse 16, and it shall be at that day, saith the Lord, that thou shalt call me Ishi, and shalt call me no more Baali. Verse 17, for I will take away the names of Baalim out of her mouth, and they shall no more be remembered by their name. Why is that? This is talking about the end times. So the Most High is saying that we shall no more call him Baali. Why? Because all the way up into the end times, until Yahushua comes back and cleans all this mess up, we're still going to be confusing pagan, ideologies, pagan doctrines, pagan festival feast days with the Most High's word all the way up until the very end. Okay, that's up into that time, there's always going to be that confusion there on the earth. Okay, all the way up until the end. Those that are going to be doing it knowingly and those doing it unknowingly. So what I'm saying is the cult of Baal never disappeared. Exactly. It never disappeared, and it's going to be here all the way until Yahushua comes back. Don't take my word for it. That's what Hosea 2 and 16 is literally saying. Okay, because at that day, that's finally when, we will call the Most High Father. Okay, no more Baali or Baal. Okay, and then we finally will remember the name Baal, and we had that word or that name, not just a name in itself, but also the remembrance, the reputation, the worship of Baal will be taken out of our mouths, will be taken out of practice, will be shut down. Okay, will be banished. All right. So, we have to stay diligent, question everything, question everything. Okay. Now, there's some things in this wicked society we can't get around. All right. So, we do have to do our best, obviously. But when it comes to something like this, it's easy not to go to a Halloween party. It's easy not to put on a costume and tell people happy Halloween and all that. Okay. Because we clearly know what it is. So, we have to do our best to rehearse the righteous acts. All right. But that was pretty much it. Not sacrifice to these, pagan gods. Let's get 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 20. But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to the Most High. And I would not that ye would have fellowship with devils. Verse 21, ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils. Okay, so that's just plain. It's just playing upon tables right there. But that was pretty much it. If you are, if you are a adherent to the word, then you do your best to abolish anything resembling Halloween, from you, your spirit, or anything resembling the practice of that, because of course we're supposed to abstain from all appearances of evil. And for the brothers, that may have may have a woman that's in the world, try to explain these things to her if you can. Don't have her out here going off. And maybe likewise, the other way around. But that's pretty much it. Lord willing, this was edifying. And until the next time, I bid everyone a mighty shalom.